The Caribbean is tense once again, calm on the surface but turbulent underneath. A United States aircraft carrier has moved near Venezuelan waters. The largest ship, the one Washington loves to showcase, and a ship rarely deployed without major political intent. This is more than a display of force. It is a message, a signal of pressure, a reminder that Washington does not want to lose influence in the Caribbean. Yet Venezuela shows no fear, no hesitation. In fact, Caracas appears more prepared than in previous years. Behind it stands Russia. Not as a provocateur, but as a strategic partner balancing a very sensitive region. The Caribbean is once again part of the global power map. A carrier strike group is not just an aircraft carrier, it is a floating military ecosystem. Inside it are dozens of F/A-18s and F-35s, airborne early warning systems, anti-submarine helicopters, Aegis-equipped destroyers, nuclear-powered submarines, layered electronic warfare assets, all moving with one purpose: control the air, control the sea, project dominance. But deploying such a force against Venezuela? That is what puzzles many analysts. Venezuela is not a global threat, not an expansionist state. It is a country defending its own borders. The U.S. response looks disproportionate, excessive, and perhaps a sign that Washington feels pressured, a sign that the balance of power is shifting. Can Venezuela shoot down U.S. jets? Technically, yes. Venezuela has the S-300VM system, a capable air defense platform with long-range radar and high-speed interceptors. If a U.S. jet enters Venezuelan airspace, Caracas has every legal right to respond. That is sovereign law. That is international law. But in practice, the U.S. is extremely cautious. Their aircraft stay over international waters, always outside the engagement zone, always avoiding the legal threshold. Venezuela knows this and understands the consequences of firing first. They choose discipline, not fear, but calculation. Their capability is real, and Washington knows it. Locking a target with radar is serious. It is a pre-attack signal, a step before launching a missile. If Venezuela locks onto a U.S. aircraft, the E-2D Hawkeye will detect it instantly. The EA-18G Growler will jam the radar. Aegis destroyers may lock back. Anti-radiation missiles could launch within seconds. Everything moves fast, too dangerous. Venezuela understands this. They know the rules, they know the risks. So, they avoid escalation. Not because they are weak, but because they are strategic. That restraint is a form of strength. The F-35 is a fifth-generation stealth aircraft. Low radar signature, advanced sensors, high-tech systems. In theory, it could approach Venezuelan territory. It could gather intelligence. It could test radar responses. But actually entering Venezuelan airspace, that is a different story. If detected by radar, by infrared sensors, by satellite feeds, it becomes an international issue. Venezuela gains diplomatic leverage. The U.S. faces global criticism, and this part often gets ignored. Venezuela does not rely solely on its own radars. With Russian support, they use passive detection systems, infrared tracking, satellite data, multi-spectrum sensors. These tools make stealth operations much more complicated. Even if an aircraft gets close, Venezuela likely knows. They simply do not publicize it. Russia's presence in Venezuela is no longer symbolic. It is strategic, structured, long-term. Moscow has strengthened Venezuela's air defense, electronic warfare, radar capability, military training, intelligence analysis. When Russian Tu-160 bombers landed in Caracas, Washington reacted sharply. The Caribbean is sensitive territory, an area the U.S. has claimed as its backyard for decades. But now Russia is there, and Washington cannot ignore it. This new presence changes the balance. It limits unilateral pressure. It forces caution. The region is no longer one-sided. Militarily, Venezuela is not equal to the U.S., but geopolitically, its position is far more strategic than many assume. Caracas could host more Russian aircraft, expand joint military exercises, grant access to naval facilities, enhance radar networks, increase cooperation with China. Every move, even a small one, creates significant pressure for Washington because the Caribbean is symbolic. It is a measure of influence, a marker of geopolitical control. And Venezuela is challenging that narrative. Many analysts see the U.S. reaction as a sign of concern, a sign of discomfort. Washington fears losing regional influence, fears Russia gaining a permanent foothold, fears a stronger, more resilient Venezuela, fears other nations following the same path. For decades, the U.S. dominated this region completely. But the strategic map is shifting. Venezuela may not be a superpower, but its resolve is. Its consistency is, and the support it receives reinforces its position. The balance is changing. The Caribbean is entering a new era, no longer controlled by a single power, no longer predictable, no longer quiet. Venezuela stands firm. The U.S. applies pressure. Russia restores balance. An aircraft carrier may be huge, but a nation's determination to defend its sovereignty is far greater. Venezuela has shown that, with discipline, with confidence, with steadily increasing capability. The region will continue to evolve, more complex, more sensitive, more important to global politics. If you want to follow these developments, the shifts in global influence, the changing military dynamics, and the deeper geopolitical strategies, support this channel. Subscribe, leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us deliver more detailed and professional analysis. This video is created for educational and analytical purposes. It does not promote violence. It does not support conflict. It does not take political sides. All information is based on open-source data and professional interpretation. Visuals are illustrative only. Thank you for watching. See you in the next analysis.